I pretended to be poor when I married the pharmaceutical expert. While pregnant, he and his assistant forced abortion pills down my throat. Sacrifice yourself for the experiment, he said, then write a 100,000 word report on your experience. I watched him leave, with his arm around his assistant. As blood soaked through my skirt, I finally understood he never wanted me. He wanted a vessel for drug trials. As I turned, I pulled out the ultrasound report I had hidden. It showed a rare blood type match, something he had desperately sought. I lay naked on the lab table. Blood flowed continuously from my body. Countless people stood around, observing and recording data about my body. Skylar was also manipulating my body, occasionally bending down to jot down some data. My husband stood beside me, softly instructing Skylar on what to do. Skylar, this data is wrong. How can you be so careless? Skylar playfully stuck out her tongue. I got it, Professor. You're so wordy. I only made a tiny mistake. You dare snap at me? Hey, Emph, I'm angry. Marcus immediately began to softly coax her. Skylar chuckled, and her hand pressed harder. I gasped in pain. Marcus, with a hint of displeasure, said, Don't move. Skylar can't record the data. If you can't even endure this little pain, how can you be our experiment subject? Besides, this experiment was voluntary for you. We even gave you $5,000. $5,000 for you to sell your child. How heartless. It's probably for the best the child wasn't born anyway. They wouldn't amount to anything with a mother like you. I haven't mistreated you normally. People from a small rural town are just tacky. After hearing Marcus's words, it wasn't just my body that ached. My heart felt as if a piece had been torn out. I was from a small rural town, yet I married a renowned pharmaceutical expert. Everyone said I had gotten incredibly lucky, even though I had explained repeatedly that I wasn't poor. When I saw Skylar take off her gloves, I quietly asked, Can I leave now? I need to go back and give my child a proper burial. Marcus leaned in close to Skylar's ear, asking for her opinion, seeing frown. He immediately said to me in a cold voice, No, Skylar still has a few experiment records to complete. You can't leave. You'll stay on the lab table tonight. My eyes widened involuntarily, my voice trembling. Marcus, that was our child. You won't let them have a proper burial. And you're making me sleep here right after a miscarriage? Skylar laughed and said, Ms. Luna, don't people from your small rural town live in pigsties? This place is much better than a pigsty. Besides, we are materialists. We don't believe in the concept of a proper burial. And you and the child are important experimental subjects for us. You can't easily leave the lab. After saying that, she smiled and looked at Marcus. Professor, isn't that right? Marcus nodded indulgently. Luna, you claim I'm your benefactor, yet you can't even make a small sacrifice for me. This is a sacrifice for science. Everyone will thank you. Repay a debt. Those two seemingly light words pressed down on me heavily on the lab table. So be it. Marcus saved my life. I'll repay him with my life. I allowed the lab personnel to tie me to the lab table. I lay motionless, as if half dead. In my ears, Skylar was cooing playfully, saying she wanted to eat spicy takeout and telling Marcus to take her, but never liked heavily flavored dishes, so he had always demanded that even I, who preferred strong flavors, eat bland food. Seeing the ashen look on my face, Skylar kindly placed her phone beside me. Ms. Luna, in case you're bored, you can play with the phone. There are photos of your child on the phone. You can take a look. Though it doesn't look very human, you can still tell it's a girl. A money pit, with that. Marcus put his arm around Skylar's waist and left. The lab instantly plunged into darkness. I sobbed uncontrollably in the dark. Hello. I want to petition for divorce from Marcus. I'm leaving him forever. After hanging up the phone, a continuous wave of throbbing pain radiated from my chest. This wasn't my first time being a test subject. The first time was when Skylar conducted her first independent experiment, and Marcus was incredibly flustered. In his rush, the original test subject couldn't participate, so called me back. Even though I was still on a business trip, fearing something might happen to Marcus, I rushed back, taking a series of train and bus connections. Over a dozen hours later, I sat on a chair, covered in dust from travel, having my blood drawn. There were so many times after that, I couldn't even keep track. I only remembered that Marcus was my benefactor, and I had to repay the debt. The scenes kept shifting, and eventually, I fainted from excessive blood loss. When I opened my eyes again, Skylar was having her blood drawn. The massive blood loss left me without any strength. After 3 large tubes of blood were drawn, I was finally allowed to leave the lab. As I stumbled away, Marcus called out to me, "Go home and write the 100,000-word report." I looked at him, puzzled. "Ms. Luna, it's my report. Please write it well. I need it for my press conference." Marcus looked at her with indulgence, then saw that I wasn't responding. Tears welled up in Skylar's eyes, and her nose turned red. "Ms. Luna, are you unwilling? But if I don't have this 100,000-word report, I won't be able to graduate." Marcus glared. "Luna, apologize to Skylar." My heart felt numb, and I didn't move. Seeing this, Marcus softened his tone. "All right, Luna, Skylar is my student. She's young and impulsive. Why get angry with a child? Just kneel down and apologize to Skylar, and this will all be over." A child 3 years older than me. I was in too much pain to straighten my back, but wouldn't let me off easily. I slowly knelt down. It turned out that kneeling to apologize wasn't difficult. I touched my forehead to the ground 3 times, saying, "I'm sorry, Ms. Skylar." Marcus was shocked by my actions, but more than that, he was pleased. He helped me up from the ground. "Pleased and proud," he said. "You finally learned sense. I always disliked your vulgarity from a small rural town. You are my wife, and your every action represents my image. This is much better now. So had always looked down on me." I gently brushed his hand away and left without looking back. Before the lab door fully closed, voices drifted out. "Professor, Ms. Luna will write my report well, won't she? Just so you know, if this 100,000-word report isn't good enough, I'll pester you for the rest of your life." All right, Professor will personally supervise it for you. I'll make sure you get a perfect report. We can't have my demanding prodigy fail to graduate." Finally, the scene froze on Marcus gently kissing Skylar's forehead. The door slowly closed. Inside, there was tender affection. Outside, there was a grief as deep as death. I gave a bitter laugh. "My child's life, a 100,000-word report, Marcus, your debt of gratitude. I have finally repaid it all." With nothing on me, I had no choice but to walk home. 3 hours later, I arrived home. Just as I tried to enter, the fingerprint scanner on the front door was invalid. I tried the access code, but that didn't work either. I tried to call Marcus, but the call wouldn't go through. Another 2 hours passed. Marcus returned with Skylar. Skylar looked utterly shocked. "Ms. Luna, why aren't you inside? Are you deliberately letting everyone see you like this so they can point fingers at Professor?" Marcus also looked at me unkindly. "Luna, I thought you had turned over a new leaf. I didn't expect you'd still be so eager to cause trouble behind my back." "Marcus, why was the access code changed? The fingerprint scanner isn't working either." A flicker of awkwardness crossed Marcus's face. "Ms. Luna, I'm sorry, I had nowhere to go, so I'm staying at Professor's house. To make it easier for me, he changed everything to mine. The access code is my birthday." Skylar chuckled and opened the front door. "The previous access code was our wedding anniversary." I looked down at the sole of my shoes, wondering what to think. "Luna, couldn't you have called me if you couldn't get in? You just had to make a scene outside." I mumbled in response. "I called for 2 hours, but you didn't answer." Marcus paused, then said nothing. "Ms. Luna, Professor was driving just now, so the phone was with me." I sharply raised my head. Marcus's phone was his most prized possession. He never allowed me to touch it once. When my phone died, I tried to use Marcus's phone to make a call. The moment my finger touched it, his hand slammed down on mine, then took antiseptic wipes and rubbed the phone 5 times before stopping. Marcus didn't scold me, but I never dared to touch his phone again. "Ms. Luna, come in. I'll pour you a glass of water." As I entered the house, the home was a mess, completely transformed. Pink plush toys and couples decor were everywhere. Skylar walked into the kitchen and brought me a glass of warm water. I didn't take it and went back to my room, in a hazy state. I felt someone place a hand on my forehead, softly coaxing me to sleep. I don't know how long I slept, but I was woken by Marcus grabbing my hair and dragging me up. I was dragged to Marcus's room. Skylar's face was bluish-purple, and she was unconscious. She mumbled incoherently, calling out, "Ms. Luna, I was wrong. Don't poison me." I was wrong. Marcus kicked me to the ground, furious. "You bitch, how dare you harm Skylar?" "I didn't. Why would I harm her? Skylar only saw you and me today. I couldn't possibly harm her, only you have such a wicked heart. It must be because Skylar made you a test subject, and you held a grudge, waiting for a chance to get revenge." I let out a self-deprecating laugh, my eyes bloodshot. I didn't harm her. I haven't left the house since returning from the lab, after I entered. I was asleep the entire time. If you don't believe me, you can check the security cameras, Luna. You're truly cunning. The security cameras broke days ago. You must have known there would be no evidence, so I can't do anything about you. If anything happens to Skylar, I won't let you off the hook. Marcus pinned me down. A doctor arrived quickly. He confirmed that Skylar was suffering from drug poisoning. And this type of drug was only available in the lab. Immediately, the housekeeper searched my room and found drug residue, caught red-handed. I had no way to defend myself, Luna. The antidote requires the heart blood of a human as a primer. You caused this, so you fix it. With that, Marcus led me to the next room without hesitation and forcefully plunged the scalpel into my chest. Blood dripped steadily. In no time, a bowl was filled. I convulsed in pain. Marcus rolled his eyes in disdain. My technique is excellent. You're just losing some blood. You won't die. Then he ran off to prepare the antidote. I lay sprawled on the floor, the blood staining the ground red, mustering my strength. I crawled to find the first aid kit and bandaged myself. Soon after, Skylar woke up. Skylar, full of lingering fear, hugged Marcus, who gently coaxed her. Professor, I'm so scared. I was afraid I'd never see you again. Hearing this, Marcus's eyes also reddened. He held Skylar tightly. Seeing this, I dragged my heavy body back to my room. After I had bandaged my wound, Marcus came in with some medication. He took the gauze from my hand and carefully and meticulously bandaged me. He said earnestly, I don't know why you have such malice towards Skylar. You are her mentor's wife, practically her birth mother. Why can't you stand her? I spoke calmly. Is really just your student? Marcus angrily exclaimed, Luna, what are you implying? Are you slandering me, saying I'm having an affair with my student? Is that how you see me? His anger was mixed with a hint of subtle grievance, but what was there to feel wronged about? I pretended not to hear, just staring blankly at my wound. Seeing that I didn't care at all, Marcus abruptly threw the gauze aside. He then hurled all the medication onto my chest. Blood soaked through the freshly bandaged gauze. Marcus suddenly looked flustered. Standing by the bed, his movements frantic, he hesitated, wanting to step forward and re-bandage me. The impact had left me weak, so I just let Marcus bandage me, just as he was about to unwrap the wound. The housekeeper rushed upstairs, saying Skylar had accidentally dropped a glass and was crying from fright. What? Martha, don't let Skylar touch the shards. I'm coming down now. Marcus casually splashed liquid onto my wound. Then he left in a hurry. I was in so much pain I couldn't even scream. It turned out Marcus had splashed rubbing alcohol onto my wound. The raw, surging wound hissed and bubbled. Then the bubbles slowly vanished. The heart that had been momentarily touched by Marcus's gentle actions earlier vanished like those bubbles, never to return. All that remained was stagnant water. Once I felt a bit better, Marcus urged me to write the 100,000-word report, to complete the report on time. I worked almost non-stop, day and night. Finally, I finished it all the day before the report was due. Marcus ordered me to deliver the report to the lab. As soon as I arrived at the lab, everyone started pointing and whispering about me. Is that professor's wife from a small rural town? Can you smell that chicken coop odor? Chicken coop? More like a pigsty. Ha 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 ha. I acted as if I heard nothing and went straight to Marcus's lab to deliver the report. Through the doorway, I saw Skylar tinkering with a pile of unknown objects. I instinctively felt that these unknown objects were related to me. Voices drifted from inside the lab. Senior, is this therapy effective for the fetus? Skylar poked the flesh with disdain. Perhaps his bloodline is too inferior. It's completely useless. Declare the experiment a failure. My eyes blazed with fury, and I rushed in to fight Skylar. My poor child had to suffer such torment even after death. The hand I raised to slap Skylar was stopped in midair. Marcus forcefully shoved me away. What's wrong with you? I screamed. My child was used for experiments by Skylar and isn't even at peaceful rest after death. I hoped Marcus would consider that it was his own child, but he remained perfectly calm. You tacitly approved. I burst into a hysterical laugh. I flung the report at Marcus and ran out. The next day, the press conference proceeded as planned. Marcus, along with Skylar, announced the successful development of their latest drug. Reporters vied to interview the medical star. Suddenly, a reporter shouted, Professor, your wife is live streaming her jump into the sea. The entire hall instantly fell silent. Marcus looked at the reporter with a sneer. His words sharp. Reporter, I don't know how much Luna paid you to spout nonsense at this press conference. Our drug is meant to benefit humanity, and she's resorting to such petty tactics. Is she disregarding all patients? As for you, I'll have security escort you out. No one took the reporter's words seriously. Instead, everyone criticized me for being indecent. Marcus gestured for Skylar to begin her report. Skylar was poised, intelligent, and articulate during the report. More and more reporters started chattering incessantly. Just a second before Skylar finished her report, a live stream appeared on the large screen. I stood directly on the suspension bridge. The live stream comments scrolled relentlessly. As the wife of a renowned pharmaceutical expert, I also had considerable public recognition. Feeling the sea breeze, my heart was calmer than ever before. I turned to face the camera. Hello, everyone. Professor cheated on me with his assistant during our marriage and forced a pregnant woman to undergo experiments, pulling the child alive from her womb. My child was killed in this way. What? Marcus looks so respectable, yet he cheated. I knew Marcus wasn't a good person. He was always seen with his assistant, me. I saw Marcus at a hotel. Show us photos. Seeing that things had reached the outcome I anticipated, thinking of my dead child, I hesitated no longer and jumped. I was instantly swallowed by the waves. The press conference erupted in an uproar. Microphones were thrust into Marcus's and Skylar's faces. Reporters clamored with questions. Professor, is this true? Did you push your wife to jump into the sea for your assistant? Is it true that you forced your wife to be a test subject? Skylar had never experienced such a public spectacle. She hid directly behind Marcus, terrified. Marcus, with a stern face, declared, Ladies and gentlemen of the press, my wife and I have a very good relationship. As for the experiments, they were all legal and compliant. Skylar is merely my assistant. This press conference is now concluded. He then shielded Skylar and left. Once in the car, Skylar's tears streamed down her face. Professor, I'm so scared. Why did Ms. Luna have to harm me like this? Was she deliberately trying to prevent me from graduating? Sparks of anger flared in Marcus's eyes. That damn Luna. Marcus held Skylar in his arms, gently stroking her. At that moment, I was already sitting in the airport terminal. Text messages kept pouring in on my phone. Luna, weren't you doing that on purpose? Deliberately embarrassing Skylar at the press conference? Hurry back and apologize to Skylar. Then go live to clarify things. Reply to my message. Luna, you have some nerve. Watch me suspend your debit card. Where will a country girl like you go? Call me back. I calmly looked at the endless stream of messages, then, without hesitation, took out my SIM card and snapped it in half. Then I picked up my suitcase and boarded the plane. Marcus stared at his phone, which showed no new messages. He flew into a rage. He smashed the phone. Luna, you're bold. If you have the guts, then never come back. Skylar carefully tugged at Marcus's clothes and quietly asked, Is Luna angry? I can apologize to her. Professor, don't be angry. Skylar, don't worry about it. Luna will be back in less than 3 days. Then I'll make her apologize to you. This time, I'll make her kneel outside all night to atone for what she did. As for Marcus's inner turmoil, he didn't care about it at all. After all these years, I had always been supported by Marcus. After arriving in Florence, Ethan suddenly changed his mind about picking me up, saying H found a handsome guy for me instead. I grumbled about Ethan's unreliability as I walked out. Then I bumped into a man's chest. I heard a crunch. I couldn't help but look down. Ms. Luna, what are you looking at? I looked up to see the man's face darken. I chuckled awkwardly. After returning to Ethan's house, Ethan hugged me, shedding tears of distress. I told you not to marry Marcus, but you wouldn't listen. How could our Vance family let him bully you like this? You also invested so much money into his lab. It's all gone to waste. I had to charm and coax Ethan to cheer him up. All right, let me ask you. Are you still going to keep investing money in Marcus? I sobered my expression. Is his lab profitable? Ethan nodded, then shook his head. It used to be profitable, but ever since that assistant Skylar arrived, it's been on a sharp decline. I thought for a few seconds. Have someone evaluate it. If it's no longer profitable, well, withdraw the investment. There are profitable labs everywhere. We don't make losing deals. Ethan was very surprised. It seems you've finally come to your senses. You have no idea how much money I reluctantly poured into it, hundreds of millions. My dear Ethan, how about I earn it all back for you? Just give me 1 month. Ethan nodded indulgently. For a full month, I immersed myself in work. CEO Luna, T. The secretary had delicate features but a powerful, muscular physique. As I drank my tea, my gaze lingered on the secretary. Alex's face darkened. CEO Luna, this is the 65th time you've stared at my lower body. Didn't you get a good look at the airport? I choked. My face flushed crimson. Who would have thought Ethan would find me such a contrasting secretary? Alex, don't blame CEO Luna. She just can't help herself. Who would have thought a baby-faced guy with an 8-pack would be named Alex? What are my recent plans? CEO Luna, your recent plan is to terminate the contract with Serenity and find a new one. I paused for a few seconds, then I let out a cold laugh. Did think it'd come back just because he changed the lab's name to this. He was far too naive. Alex carefully observed my expression. CEO Luna, if you're unwilling, you don't have to go. I can handle it for you. I shook my head. Let's do it in 3 days. Marcus could no longer affect me. Just after getting off the plane, I waited for Alex at the exit. A questioning voice called, Luna? I instinctively turned around. It was Marcus. Marcus was overjoyed and rushed towards me. Luna, I knew you weren't dead. I knew you wouldn't bear to leave me. Marcus tried to embrace me, but I nimbly dodged to the side. Marcus's eyes looked incredibly hurt, staring at me with a watery gaze. I frowned. Marcus, what's wrong with you? Marcus let out a sob and started crying. Everyone said you were dead. I spent all my money hiring search and rescue teams for you, but there was no trace. I looked for you for a whole month. Marcus's display of emotion moved everyone around him, and even bystanders couldn't help but shed tears, but I remained unmoved. Marcus had intended to use this tactic to win my forgiveness, but he hadn't expected my indifference. Luna, you knew I was looking for you, didn't you? Yes. I had known all along. A week after I left, I saw it on television. The renowned pharmaceutical expert was widely publicizing his search for his wife. Marcus cautiously tried to grab my wrist. A hand intercepted Marcus's. CEO Luna, we can leave now. I nodded. Marcus went wild. Who is he? I'm your husband. I sneered. A husband who cheated during marriage and tried to kill his own child. You don't deserve that title. Marcus's face turned pale, and he swayed precariously. Ever since I returned to the country, Marcus had been acting extremely strangely. He had somehow found my address. He waited for me outside the hotel every day. Marcus had cornered me at the hotel for several days, but my work still needed to continue. I walked out of the hotel. Marcus was disheveled and looked utterly miserable. Seeing me emerge, his eyes lit up. Luna, I knew you wouldn't abandon me. He pouted at me. I have a headache. I haven't eaten in ages, and the home was a mess. I looked at the disheveled and utterly miserable Marcus. Marcus had the common flaw of all elite professionals. He was clueless about everyday life. He often forgot to eat and sleep for his experiments. After I married him, I took over all his household affairs. In the past, seeing Marcus in such a state, I couldn't help but feel a pang of sympathy. I would then nag him to quickly change into clean clothes. Now, I just felt that he was dirty and somewhat disgusting. I subtly took a few steps back, instinctively frowning. Marcus's breathing hitched for a few seconds. Luna, I've already transferred all my assets into your name. This time, it'll let you manage all my money. My lab is about to receive a massive investment from a foreign conglomerate. I will make money. What about Skylar? Ever since I returned, Marcus had been avoiding talking about Skylar, but I wouldn't let him evade the topic. Marcus paced back and forth anxiously. Skylar and I have no relationship. I only have a student-teacher relationship with her. She's just my student. We haven't been intimate. I snorted, as if seeing into Marcus's mind. Is infidelity only when it's physical? Emotional infidelity disgusts me even more. You use the guise of a student-teacher relationship to satisfy your selfish desires, and you still tell me you're just student and teacher. You truly sicken me. Marcus's slender body swayed. No, that's not it. I didn't cheat. I was just momentarily distracted. I just made a mistake by accident. You have to forgive me. Luna, you love me. I know you suffered from stomach pain while carrying our child, and you made stomach-soothing meals for me from the moment we lost our child. We could never go back to how things were. I walked past Marcus, striding away, leaving only Marcus crying bitterly behind me. I had only walked a few steps when Skylar furiously ran up to me, like an erupting volcano. She cursed at me. Luna, why are you back trying to steal Professor from me? You're just a country girl from a small rural town. What right do you have to marry my professor? Look at you, all that cheapness. Marcus quickly stepped forward, blocking me. Skylar, apologize to your mentor's wife. Skylar stared in disbelief, her body trembling uncontrollably. Professor. Marcus, meanwhile, checked my body up and down. You scared me to death. It's good that you're all right. This scene directly provoked Skylar. Skylar's body slowly slid down, as if she were in a trance. Professor. You're mine, you're mine. A pool of blood slowly flowed from beneath her. Skylar murmured, Professor, I'm pregnant with your child. Marcus was aghast. Impossible. I never touched you. How could you be pregnant with my child? That night you got drunk at the celebration party. You took me to the hotel, Marcus remembered. No, I wouldn't betray Luna. Marcus picked up Skylar, turned to me, and said, Luna, wait for me. I will definitely give you an explanation. I was completely bewildered. The child wasn't mine, so what explanation would he give me? After left, I told Alex to quickly withdraw the investment from the lab. To my surprise, Marcus returned that evening. I had also learned from Alex that Skylar's child was indeed Marcus's. I remembered the celebration party. It was Skylar's first time independently completing an experiment. She had insisted Marcus host a celebration party for her, and that day was also my birthday. Marcus chose Skylar. Holding an umbrella, I walked towards Marcus, who was standing in the pouring rain. Why did you choose my birthday for the celebration party? Marcus stammered, no reason. It's just that Skylar wanted me to be with her that day. The last shred of hope deep in my heart faded away, but believe me, I was drunk then. I wasn't intentional. Forgive me, Luna. Didn't we lose our child? We can take Skylar's child and register them as yours. Marcus looked at me with longing. So you never wanted my child from the beginning? That's why you signed the consent form for the experiment. A flash of insight hit my mind, as if I were grasping something profound. You also knew that I didn't drug Skylar to harm her. Marcus remained silent, and I had my answer. I let out a self-deprecating laugh. It was Skylar who said she wanted to teach you a lesson. Otherwise, a country girl like you would step all over me. I had a sense of proportion then. I wouldn't have truly hurt you. That explained why the formerly considerate Marcus had started giving me the silent treatment one day. I had spent entire days wondering if I had done something wrong, so when Marcus asked me to consent to the experiment, I did so to please him. I allowed him to sign the consent form. My piercing gaze met Marcus's eyes. Marcus, I will never forgive you in this lifetime. Unless you bring my child back. The light in Marcus's eyes extinguished instantly, and he looked as though he had lost all his vitality. In the following days, I didn't see Marcus again. I heard that Marcus used the abortion pills Skylar herself had developed to terminate Skylar's pregnancy. Ethan was already very dissatisfied with the pace of my investment withdrawal. He kept making sarcastic remarks, implying I was rekindling old feelings. So, the day after I hung up on Ethan, I went to Marcus's lab alone. Skylar greeted me at the door. Her flushed complexion showed no sign that she had lost a child. Seeing me approach, she looked me up and down, then sneered, Ms. Luna, what are you doing here? Our lab is about to welcome a big client. Please don't disturb our distinguished guest's visit with your pigsty smell. She was so arrogant and smug, not at all like an assistant. I ignored her and walked straight inside. Skylar shoved me, pushing me to the ground. I told you not to go in and disturb our distinguished guest. You're still trying to go in. How shameless. I knew you weren't an easy person to deal with when you forced yourself to marry Professor. Get out. Don't disturb our guest. I slowly stood up and brushed the dirt off my clothes. Are you sure you want me to leave? Skylar nodded without hesitation. Skylar, you will regret this. I turned to leave, but assistant ran up to me. Skylar seemed to transform. She rubbed her hands together obsequiously and stepped forward. I stood aside, composed, watching the scene unfold. Assistant, you're here. When will CEO Luna arrive? CEO Luna is already here. Skylar looked around. With a forced smile, she asked, Where is CEO Luna? Assistant said nothing. He walked to my side, knelt on one knee, and smoothed out my pants. Skylar stood frozen in place, not moving. Without even glancing at her, I walked into the lab. Marcus was also startled to see me. Luna, you. Assistant cut Marcus off, sharply demanding, Who gave you permission to address our CEO that way? Marcus was stunned. Luna, you're the CEO of Vance. Aren't you a country girl from a small rural town? What? Are you upset that I'm not a country girl? Marcus hastily shook his head. Show me the lab. Though I've been here many times, This is the first time I'm not being treated as a test subject. Marcus, his face pale and his hands trembling, invited me to tour the facility. When I reached the lab table where I had lost my child, I couldn't help but remember my poor unborn baby. I lingered for a moment, caressing the surface, then walked past it. In the office, Marcus's voice was hoarse. Yet he still feigned composure. CEO Luna, our lab's experimental plan for next year is the fetal revival program. Marcus looked at me as if seeking praise. Seeing that I didn't speak, Marcus's gaze dropped. Disappointed, this program can offer hope to parents who have lost children, allowing them to bring their children back into their lives. Marcus was indeed a brilliant pharmaceutical expert. He spoke about specialized knowledge fluently and systematically. His serious demeanor had once been what attracted me most. Now, it seemed like nothing more than a dazzling distraction, utterly devoid of sincerity. As rattled on, I cleared my throat. Professor, Vance no longer intends to invest here. Why? My project will definitely succeed, Marcus assured me solemnly. Marcus, this lab already has too many scandals. Furthermore, for me, this lab is a nightmare. And why do you think I can trust your character or your medical ethics? Marcus swayed, speaking frantically. I can transfer the lab to your name. It'll work for you. If you don't trust me, I can sign an agreement with you, guaranteeing it'll never betray you. For someone who can violate wedding vows, I have every reason to believe no agreement can bind you. Skylar ran out from somewhere. She clung to Marcus, refusing to let go. You can't give the lab to Luna. Have you forgotten? The lab has already been transferred to my name. You have no right to sell my lab. Marcus shoved Skylar away. Crazy woman. What nonsense are you spouting? This is my lab. When did it become yours? Ha 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 ha. Marcus, go check who the actual owner of the lab is. It's me, Skylar. I cast a questioning look at Assistant. Assistant nodded. Marcus's heart immediately turned to ashes. His face was utterly blank. Skylar was still screaming frantically. Marcus, you're tied to me forever. We'll never be separated. You killed my child. You have to pay for my child's life. Ha 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 ha. After confirming the agreement was invalid, I left without looking back. Marcus yelled behind me. Luna, I will definitely succeed in my research. I will bring our child back. Whether succeeded or not, it no longer concerned me. Before leaving, I took one last look at the lab, this place, which gave me both joy and pain. I had finally escaped, with everything concluded. I boarded the plane to go home. What arrived before the plane were my family's blessings. They blessed me for escaping the hardship, and Ethan asked if I was divorced. Marcus had already petitioned for divorce back when I supposedly died by jumping into the sea. Then he and Skylar became a couple. Years later, major news broke in the medical community. The once brilliant pharmaceutical expert, Marcus, was struck by a car driven by a deranged woman. The woman died on the spot, and the brilliant expert became mentally incapacitated. All he did all day was research embryonic regeneration project. As for me, I had already achieved a 9-figure annual revenue goal. I was preparing to move towards even bigger goals.